What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon, MLB DFS video. It is Friday. It is August 25th, and we are back bringing you a video chock full of hopefully some amazing information. If you've never been here before, you're in for a treat. If you've been here before, you've eaten that treat multiple times. You brought home the bacon, you've watched the bacon. Now, I want to show you what FTA Plus brought yesterday. Not only do we do DFS, but we do sports betting as well. And our first prop of the day, we did a same game parlay for the Yankees game yesterday against Washington, and we ate. If you can see that, we took Aaron Judge, Gleyber Torres, and Stanton did a home run. I put $5 on it. $3.80 was the return, which is absolutely awesome. I did not think it was going to happen because Stanton took a long time to hit a home run, but he ended up hitting it. We also missed we had a second parlay of the night. We had Christian Walker, we had Luis Robert Jr., and we had Stanton in another parlay, and Luis did it. And then Christian Walker missed a home run by a couple of feet. It would have been out in, I think, over half of the ballparks. It was an absolute, I thought we had another one. It was for another 280. So we had pretty good day overall. We do a bunch of sports bets. We put them on there. If you want to check it out, go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, and you can see what we have over there. Right now, you can go FTA Plus. You can use the promo code NFLVIP. If you use that on the yearly pass, you're going to get $100 off. It's $24.99 a month with all of the sports that we offer, or we have the yearly pass. You get it for $99 right now. Our PGA lineups are killing it right now, so it's been pretty nice. We'll have MMA, we'll have NASCAR this weekend, NFL in 16 days. It's back, I believe, or no, 13 days I think it is. NFL's back in 13 days as of yesterday. And then we're still rocking on with MLB and NBA once it gets here. So that being said, we're going to see who the winner was from yesterday. If you've never been here before, anytime you leave a comment, you're a subscriber, and our video gets at least 50 likes, you have a chance to win a free week. Anytime it gets 100 likes, you have a chance to win a free month. 125 likes equals a chance to win a free year. And 150 likes is a chance to win a free lifetime pass. So and it's easy. All you got to do is leave a comment. So let's see who the winner is from yesterday's video. And you can win multiple times. Ian Quinn, coming for that porker. He's bringing home the bacon. Ian Quinn, congratulations. Let me know you saw this, and then either email me dfshelp1, the number 1, dfshelp1@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on Twitter at advisors_team. Just if you don't already have an account on the website, let us know the username you would like to use, and let us know the email that you would like to use, and we will get you set up. So we do have 15 games today. We have 3 early, and then we have 12 on the main slate. So we are going to cover them all. If you've never been here before, hopefully you're in for a treat. So we got Framber Valdez versus Detroit Tigers. Valdez has actually faced 65 plate appearances of the Tigers, giving up a .333 batting average. Matt Manning, on the other hand, 35 plate appearances, .258. The Astros are coming off a very embarrassing loss. They got absolutely trampled yesterday. So first game here, Framber Valdez, he's still expensive. He's still $10,000, and we've actually not used him in 3 straight starts. He's gotten lit up 3 straight starts here. Since throwing a no-hitter, he's gone deep into games, but he's given up runs. He's given up 15 runs in his last 3 starts. One against Baltimore, one against Seattle, and then Miami was another game. At his price, it's kind of crazy. It is Detroit. He has faced Detroit this year. He's got, in that start, 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 3 runs total, 1 walk, 9 Ks, 24.4. Now, he is cheap, a little bit cheaper than he was his last start against Seattle, $10,200. Now he's $10,000. For an early slate like this, with 2 pitchers, you kind of, I don't mind him. Again, though, he has not looked sharp since his no-hitter. Whether or not he's tired, he's fatigued, and they're still running him out there, I don't know. He does have a plus matchup against Detroit, who are bottom half for offense, but they've also been hitting quite well lately. If you want to see all of the batter splits, what batters do well against lefties and righties, go to MLB, go to batter splits. I did forget to mention, at the end of this video, or towards the end of this video, we run 10,000 simulations and put our top DFS players, both pitchers and batters, on the website under the player projections. We throw them on there. In this video, we're going to do 2,000 simulations, and then we'll show you who the top 10 batters are and top 10 pitchers are through 10,000 simulations. So and I've had a couple of people ask, I don't remember if it was yesterday's video or the day before, but they were asking, if everyone is simulating the games, how is anyone supposed to win? So what you can do is you can take the simulations, you can mix and match. You can either use the simulations that it spits out at 10,000, or you can use those and then go contrarian and find other plays that it might not be using. So that is a way to do it. We are just giving you another tool to show you what is possible and what you could look at when building your lineups. So, that being said, we're going to jump into looking at what Matt Manning has brought to the table lately. He's going to be 6,300. He is going up against Houston. We're looking at this. Game logs. For his price, he didn't have a bad game against Cleveland. Problem is, Cleveland, they're not that good. They don't strike out a ton, but that's why he only struck out 2. He had an okay game against 5,500. He had a good game against Boston. Splits-wise, he's faced Houston once this year, 5.2 innings, 2 earned runs, 4 Ks. 16 fantasy points. If he could replicate this again, and Houston is down bad as of their other game, we could, you're going to save a lot of money at 6,300. So looking at that, let's just look at the bats real quick. Any ones that jump out against Manning in this game, or Framber Valdez. So obviously Yordan, I would always look at Yordan. I would look at Diaz would be one. John Singleton is a tournament play only. I don't trust him anywhere else. Kyle Tucker obviously is really good. They were off yesterday. I think Houston probably comes back with a vengeance today. I think we could see home runs out of these guys. I think Tucker has a chance. I think Diaz has a chance. Yordan has a chance. I would definitely look at Altuve. I would look at Bregman a little bit. I would not look at Maldonado. He did have a home run either yesterday or the day before, but then he pitched yesterday too. So, he's a two-way superstar right now, apparently. That's what I would look at. Maybe a little bit of Jake Myers in tournaments, but that's probably it. The only bats I kind of like against Framber Valdez would be Spencer Torkelson, Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter. I do like Jake Rogers. Tournaments-wise, McKinstry I could see. Vierling I could see. Ibanez a little bit. That would probably be the only plays that I would like bats-wise in this game. I don't mind either pitcher. I'm still a little leery on Valdez because he's so expensive, especially on a slate with, 6 pitchers. I don't know what to think about him. He is expensive here. I honestly, and Garrett Cole's expensive too, and he's gotten lit up his past 2 starts. He's lost 2. He's not been decent his last couple of starts. And he has struggled against Tampa Bay. Really don't know what to expect here. I think Garrett Cole probably should have pitched yesterday to give him his confidence back against a Washington team instead of throwing out a bullpen game that they ended up losing anyway. So, that being said, those are my thoughts in this game. We move to the next game, Nationals at the Marlins. We don't have to worry about weather because it's in a dome. Yohan Odon versus Braxton Garrett. Now, Odon, 5,500. Game log-wise, minus 1.8 against Philly. Went 4 innings. Went 3 innings here, went 6 innings against Cincy, which is a really good game. Other than that, he hasn't done much. Probably still not looking at him. Don't trust him. He's pitching at home, or he's pitching on the road. He's only started 1 game on the road, 338, so his numbers are skewed. I'm not using that. I don't trust him enough. If you want to go contrarian because you got to find some exposure, okay, for tournaments, this is pretty much, 3 games is tournament. So any pitcher really goes here. It really just depends if you can lock it down perfectly. So Odon is one that I'm probably, tournament-wise, I'm okay with. I'm not in love with. Then we got Braxton Garrett. Coming off decent games here, you'd like to see a little bit more. He is 7,200, so they've dropped him down, which is crazy. The pricing doesn't make sense. Braxton Garrett was 7,700 against the Dodgers, which is a very hard-hitting team. But then they drop him against a Washington team that's considerably less offensive power than the Dodgers. Splits-wise, he's faced Washington once this year, went 6 innings, 1 earned run, 8 Ks. He is in a 7,200. I like his price here. So I would look at Braxton Garrett probably over Matt Manning for sure at 7,200. I would definitely, Braxton Garrett's going to be one of your value-ish plays. If you want to go, you can go Manning here, but it is against Houston. So I would look at Garrett. I'm not really looking at Yuan here. And then we can look at the bats real quick. I think you kind of know, but we'll still go over them just a little bit to see. And again, if you want to see updated batter splits, how they do against righties or lefties, go check out FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. So a cheap option for Nats if he plays his Carter Kieboom. He's going to be very cheap for you. Lane Thomas is always a good option there. I would look at him. Keibert Ruiz I would look at a little bit. Possibly Alou. Jeter Downs just got called back up since Stone Garrett broke his leg at Yankee Stadium the other night. I would definitely, you've got a lot of cheap options for Washington bats if you want to go that route. I'm probably not, but if you want to go contrarian, that would be the route to go. Then if you look at the Marlins bats against Adon here, now whether or not it's going to be him and then it's probably going to be the bullpen after about 3 or 4 innings unless he's really on today, I would definitely look at Jake Berger. I would look at these 3 here. These are the top ones that I'd look at. De La Cruz, Bell, Chisholm. Obviously, the top 6 are always what you're looking at. Luis Ariz is good for hits. Not 100% with power, but getting on base, getting the hits, singles, doubles, triples. He's going to get you on base, most likely. So looking at that, for sure, just don't expect a ton of power. He does have surprising power occasionally. Whether or not that's going to be this game, I don't know. But a lefty-on-righty matchup, he was in a good spot as well. So that's my thought on this game. Next game, you got the Yankees at the Rays. You got Garrett Cole versus Eflin. Cole has faced 190 plate appearances for the Tampa Bay Rays, 250 batting average. Now they're going from Yankee Stadium to Tampa Bay, a terrible ballpark. And then you got Eflin, 56 plate appearances, 222. So we look at this. Garrett Cole, 11,600. Didn't do good against Boston. 4 innings, 6 earned runs, 0.2. Against Miami, had a really good start and then nothing. We kind of talked about this the other day where he was supposed to start and then he didn't. Splits-wise, he's faced Tampa Bay 3 times this year. He's given up 9 earned runs, 5 home runs, only 18 strikeouts, 4.77 ERA. He is so expensive. This is one in my heart, I hope he dominates. In my money, I'm probably avoiding 11,600 out of him. So I'm probably going away from Cole, probably not going to pay for him. If I'm paying up, it would be Valdez, maybe a little bit of Eflin, and then on down. So I'm probably going to avoid Cole here. But we can look at the numbers real quick just to see what we like. Tampa Bay-wise, Yandy Diaz has amazing numbers, I believe, against Garrett Cole. Let's look. I think he's got the top BVP on the team against him. And a lot of people don't like BVP, but yeah, he's got 50. So I say if you get at least 30-plus plate appearances against a certain pitcher, then I would go off with BVP and stuff like that. So Yandy Diaz has 1 home. He's 13 for 47 with 1 home run. Arozarena, 10 for 37 with 1 double and 2 home runs. Bethancourt's got a home run. Jose Siri has 2 hits. Both of them are home runs. So a little bit of history there. If we're looking at Yankees bats against Eflin, obviously Aaron Judge is starting to heat up. It's a little bit too late, but he is there. Everson Pereira finally got his first hit. It was a double. He's got amazing bat speed. If he could get on, no one's seen him before. I don't mind him. Stanton, I believe, went 5 for 5 yesterday. Let me see real quick. He had a double, single, home. He was obviously he's not going to get a triple, but game logs, 4 for 5 with 27 fantasy points at 4,000. Absolutely dominated. He'll probably go 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts in this game. That's just who he is. So definitely look at that. But he is obviously a power option. LeMahieu at the top of the lineup, I don't mind. Glaber had a home run yesterday. I don't mind him. IKF has not. I don't think IKF has played since Pereira got called up. So if he starts for whatever reason, he's a cheaper option. Bader has been slacking. I would definitely use Judge, Pereira. Tournament Stanton, I'm okay with. LeMahieu, Glaber, maybe Volpe and IKF here. Flip side, obviously, I think Probably what happens, the way the Yankees have been playing, Tampa Bay dominates them. I'd look at Diaz, Arozarena, Luke Raley I'm okay with. Brandon Lau let us down yesterday. All I needed was 2 bases out of him. I would use Harold Ramirez, Jose Siri. I would use, and Paredes here as well. So that's the early slate. Like I said, if we're just looking at the pitchers, probably avoiding Cole, and then everyone else for me, I would go from Valdez down to Manning would be an option for pitching. I'm probably avoiding Adon here at 5,500 and probably avoiding Garrett Cole here at 11,600. That is my thought in the early. Now let's check out the main slate. You got the Rockies at the Orioles. You got Kyle Freeland versus Cole Irvin. Freeland, they really haven't seen each other a ton. That's for sure. Then we get down here. Freeland's at 5,400. Game logs. Coming off a pretty good game against the White Sox at 5,100. Now he's 5,400. Tournament-wise, I'm okay with. But, yeah, he's coming in with a 5.02 ERA. Splits-wise, he hasn't faced Baltimore this year. He's pitching on the road. He's actually worse on the road in 2 less starts than he is at home in Coors. And he's going against Baltimore. I'm probably avoiding Freeland here. And then you got Cole Irvin against Colorado. He had a good game against Seattle. Then they dropped him down against Oakland. But it makes no sense. He was 6,000 against Seattle. And then against a worse team, they drop his price. He only gave up 4 earned runs. He only went 5 innings, though. Which, that's kind of what you're expecting out of him. Hasn't faced Colorado this year. Hasn't faced him much in his career. He's pitching at home in 5 starts. 5.52 ERA. Probably not going to use Cole Irvin. Probably looking at the bats in this game. And I think I forgot to mention, it is my anniversary this weekend. We are going away for the night tonight and throughout tomorrow. Unless the slate comes out early this afternoon, there probably will not be a video tomorrow. I do apologize. We will have everything on the website, though. That will all be updated. It'll just be, I don't know if there's going to be a video or not. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. Also, in the description of this video is today's article, which you can find the top pitchers we like overall and the top 3 plays at each position and some stacks down below. Those are all off our cheat sheet. You can find that below. And our DraftKings Weekly League, we have 200 open spots. I think 5 or 6 of them are filled right now. We would ideally love to get all 200 filled. If we do, it's $10 a week, and top 5 pay, and the first place would be $580 every single week. So definitely check that out. So obviously, we've been using Nolan Jones almost every single game, and he's come through for us. So if we look at Nolan Jones real quick, came through yesterday with a home run. Didn't come through the day before. Came through for us against Tampa Bay there. So we've used him. We've either used the total bases or we've used home run picks in sports betting and in DFS. So I would definitely look at Nolan Jones against Cole Irvin. I would look at Ryan McMahon. I would look at Brendan Rodgers. I would even look at Charlie Blackmon, lefty on lefty matchup there. Elias Diaz I would look at as well. Those would be the batters I would use for the Rockies. If I'm looking at Baltimore, I think it's everybody. I think Mountcastle, Gunnar Henderson. I would definitely look at Santander, had another home run yesterday. I would look at Cedric Mullins. Adley Rutschman is our top catcher on the slate, so I would definitely look at him. And if you want to go contrarian, Jorge Mateo, I don't mind. Flip side of that, probably, yeah, I'm not using either pitcher. I'm definitely using the offenses. I'm leaning more towards Baltimore than Colorado, though. And I'll admit, I've been wrong in the past, guys. That's the difference between us and other DFS providers. I will let you know when I'm wrong. I will let you know if I take a pitcher and if he absolutely gets dominated. I'm not going to cover it up. That is why we bring this information to you. We're trying to make you a better DFS player. We give you a ton of information here. If you need a little bit more, we have a website. We have optimal lineups that you can, don't copy paste, but you can use as a starting point. We have cheat sheets. Like I said, we have a ton of information here. This is. We also have the Vegas odds. You can definitely check that out as well. This is what it is. We're still waiting on the Angels and the Mets to get the numbers out. Vegas doesn't have anything on them. So we have a lot of information to offer here. I wanted to bring that to your attention. Cubs at the Pirates, Kyle Hendricks versus Mitch Keller. You guys, if you've been here before, you know my just dislike for Kyle Hendricks because he's just blah. Like, he's boring. There's nothing flashy about him. He had a good game against Kansas City. I said in the last video, I don't like Kyle Hendricks, but he had a good matchup against Kansas City. 6.1 innings, 1 earned run, but he's not striking out a ton. That's the problem. He's not striking out enough. If he could have had like 6 strikeouts, we're even better what we're looking at. Usually what we're trying to aim for at the bare minimum is 2 times fantasy points per salary. So what do I mean by that? I mean 14.4 fantasy points would be what we're looking at here against the Pirates. He's faced them 1 time this year, 6.1 innings, 1 earned run, only 2 strikeouts, 16.7. So he did get that. So here's the problem. If you walk people, you lose fantasy points. You give up earned runs, you lose fantasy points. If you strike out people, you get fantasy points. He's just not striking out a ton. So I'm probably going to be off of Kyle Hendricks today. That could be a mistake, but in my mind, I'm probably just going to avoid Kyle Hendricks and probably avoid Mitch Keller as well. Mitch Keller, I believe, started off extremely strong. If we look at his game, I mean, he had a really good game against Minnesota. 6 innings, 2 earned runs. He had 12 Ks. He had career high Ks, I believe. So it really depends. I mean, he's 8,800. He was 8,600 that start against Minnesota. Splits-wise, he hasn't faced Chicago this year. Pitching at home, he's got a 3.53 ERA, so he's better at home. Does get, the home runs are close, and he's not striking out a ton here. He's 31 less strikeouts than he does at home or on the road. The Cubs have been hitting though too, so you're probably not going to be using either of these pitchers. Tournaments, I'm okay with if you used in tournaments. If Kyle Hendricks could replicate what he did his last start against the Pirates, that would obviously come through for us, and you would hit what you need with value. If you're not using either pitcher, Chris Morel, Suzuki, I would use. Swanson let us down yesterday, had him in a home run pick. He missed it. Ian Happ, I would use. I would use Candelario. Bellinger. And again, Mike Tauchman, if he's at the top of the list. Yan Gomes is one for a cheap option, maybe, but I don't know if I'll use him. And then Nico Horner here. And then if you're not using Kyle Hendricks and you want to go with the Pirates bat, Brian Hayes has been heating up for us. Sawinski, Brian Reynolds, I would use. I would use Indy Rodriguez. I would use McCutchen. I would use Connor Joe. Those would probably be the only bats that I would use in these 2 matchups here. Then you got the Cardinals at the Phillies. You got Miles Mikolas versus Christopher Sanchez. Mikolas has seen 103 plate appearances, been pretty good against them. Sanchez really has seen 2 plate appearances, so nothing out of Sanchez there. So let's take a look. Mikolas here. Game logs. Not a good game against the Mets. Not a good game against Oakland. Pretty good game against Tampa Bay. Good game against Minnesota. Not against the Cubs there. Splits-wise, he hasn't faced Philly this year. He's pitching on the road, where he does have a little bit better ERA, 3.72. I think this would be a contrarian tournament option because I think people will be on the Phillies bats, which I will have exposure to the Phillies bats as well, for sure. Then Sanchez here. Game logs. At his price, he did pretty good against Washington, Minnesota, not against Kansas City, against Pittsburgh. He had a no-hitter going against Pittsburgh. I remember this. We had him. Had a no-hitter going, and they pulled him after the 5th. And he only had 73 pitches. Wild times. Splits-wise, he hasn't faced St. Louis, obviously. He's pitching at home, where he does pitch worse. So you could be looking at St. Louis bats here. So let's take a look at the bats. If you're looking at St. Louis bats against him, Wilson Contreras against the lefty I like. Goldschmidt I like against the lefty. I would look at Jordan Walker. I would look at Burleson if he's in. I would look at Arenado. Tommy Edman is an option. A cheap option would be Mason Wynn. And then if Wilson Contreras is out for whatever reason, Andrew Kisner is a fantastic option. Seems like he hits home runs when he isn't expected to start. So if you're not using Mikolas, obviously Kyle Schwarber's always in tune and in line for a Schwarbomb, even though he's hitting less than 200, I believe. Bryce Harper's been heating up. I would look at him. Trey Turner has been heating up. I would look at him. Alec Boehm, Real Muto, I would look at. Castellanos. If you want to get a little bit cheaper options, Bryson Stott. Castro is another option that I would use in this game here. So probably not using either pitcher. Probably would rather, with other pitchers on the slate, I'd go the offenses more than I would pitching here. Guardians at the Blue Jays, got Tanner Bibby versus Chris Bassett. I believe Bibby faced them before, right? Let's see. Tanner Bibby's 8,300. Yeah, he faced them right here, and we actually used him in that. So we'll talk about that in a second. So splits-wise, he's faced Toronto one time this year. It was before Bo Bichette came back, and they were striking out at a pretty, like a 22 or 23% rate against right-handed pitching at the time. I'm not sure what the rate is right now, but he had a perfect game, or not a perfect game, but he had a fantastic start for us. Gave up no earned runs. They ended up winning 1-0. 7 innings pitched out of him, 27.6 fantasy points. It was absolutely amazing. He was a very cheap option for us. Or he was 9,500. He's actually dropped down because Toronto, they got Bo Bichette back. We look at this. He's pitching on the road where he does have a worse ERA. Tournaments, I don't mind Bibby because Toronto still can strike out. The problem is, Bo Bichette's back. They're hitting the ball, so I do not trust Tanner Bibby in cash at all. So he is out, and then we look at Chris Bassett on the other hand. Game logs, pretty good game against Cincy. Going down, not too bad. He's been up and down. He's 8,000 now. Hasn't faced Cleveland this year. Pitching at home where he does have a way better ERA at home. 2.83. Problem is Cleveland's doesn't strike out a ton, and that's kind of where he's getting his points. 6 to 7 strikeouts. Now, if he could get this line right here with 6 Ks, like this right here, like he did against Cincinnati, he would pay off his salary. Problem is, I don't know if he's going to get that against Cleveland, but I'll have some exposure to him. So I'll probably lean more towards Bassett than I would Bibby in this one, just because of the matchup now. So we will look at bats. So if you're not going to use either of the pitchers and you want to look at the offense, let's take a look at the bats that you could use here. Jose Ramirez obviously is always in play. Cole Calhoun for a very cheap option I would use. Steven Kwan's. I mean, there's not a ton to like. There's a ton of blue. You want red. You want red over blue, obviously. The bats that make the most sense for the Guardians, Gabriel Arias, if he plays. Jose Ramirez, I would look at probably Cole Calhoun. Eric Haase, did he get traded? Hold on a second. Okay, I'm not crazy. I thought he was on... apparently, at some point, the Tigers put him on waivers, and they claimed him. So, had no idea. Missed that. He would be a cheap option you could use I believe, yeah. So, you should be good with that. Will Brennan, maybe a little bit, but I'm not 100% sold on him. And then, if we're looking at the Toronto Blue Jays bats here against Bibby, Matt Chapman, Vlad, Bo Bichette, obviously a ton of red there. That's what you need. George Springer. Brandon Belt's been on fire. He had another home run yesterday, I believe. I would use him. Dalton Varsho I would use a little bit. Maybe a little bit of Kiermaier and Merrifield for tournaments as well. So I'm not probably going to use either pitcher in cash. Both of them obviously are okay for GPPs or tournaments, but there are other pitching options that I like today. You got the Dodgers at the Red Sox. You get Lance Lynn versus to be announced. This has the highest over-under of the day. Team-wise, obviously the Dodgers are expected to score the most amount of runs today. Whether or not that actually goes through, we don't know. It's claiming they don't know who's pitching for Boston, but it looks like it's going to be Cutter Crawford. He last pitched Saturday, so it makes sense. He had a good game against the Yankees, but who doesn't this year? Splits-wise, he hasn't faced the Dodgers this year. I'm probably avoiding Crawford. I'll look at Lance Lynn a little bit for tournaments just because people are going to see it's Boston, and if you look at our ballpark stats, Boston gives up a ton of runs, a ton of home runs in this ballpark. So I'm off of Crawford. I would definitely look at Lance Lynn a little bit, but I would look at the offenses more than I would look at anything else. We're going to cover them real quick before we move on. And I think it's pretty self-explanatory who would use for the Dodgers. You're obviously using Mookie Betts. This is his first time. I can't remember if this is his first time he's faced the Red Sox since getting traded, or it's his first time back in Boston, but I've got to go narrative street here. He's loved, he's beloved here. He's going to get standing ovation. Don't be surprised if Mookie Betts hits a home run off the very first pitch that he sees of the game. You know what? Mookie Betts is going to be one of my home run picks, so I'm giving you a free pick. I really like Mookie Betts today. Probably goes 0 for 5, but could also hit a home run his first pitch. Max Muncy would be an option. David Peralta in there. Freddie Freeman pulling a ball down to pesky pull. I don't mind Freddie Freeman at all. Will Smith I would look at. Kike Hernandez if he's back. So he was with the Dodgers, then he signed with the Red Sox, then he got traded back from the Red Sox to the Dodgers. If you want to use narrative street, that would be another narrative that I would look at. Red Sox bats, Devers at home, Tristan Casas, Justin Turner. Justin Turner facing his old team. If you want to go narrative street that way, maybe, I might make a home run parlay based on narrative street today. You never know. Throw $5 on it. I'll put a 5 on it. Verdugo facing his old team. That's another narrative street. You could do a narrative street same game home run parlay. I would look in that. It's probably not going to hit. I wouldn't use Kike Hernandez. I would use Mookie Betts. I would use Justin Turner. I would use Alex Verdugo in this one. I like this narrative street. I'm a big fan of narrative street right now. I would use Yoshida here against Lynn. That's probably it, though, for the bats that I would use in this game. Maybe a little bit of Lynn in tournaments, but other than that, I'm not using pitching in this ballpark. Angels at the Mets. Angels, we don't know who's pitching yet versus Senga. I would use Senga. So apparently, this is a pitcher's park, so definitely like Senga. I think he's my second favorite pitcher on the main slate. I don't think we really need to cover it, but he's a good matchup here. He had a good game against St. Louis, had a good game against Atlanta, had a 20-plus performance against Chicago. Hasn't faced the Angels this year, but Trout is out. Ohtani is batting, but he does have a torn UCL. So, whether or not that's going to affect his power, I don't know. But I would rather take Senga here for sure. And then, let's see, do they think they know who's pitching for the Angels? This always shows Tyler Anderson. He last pitched a week ago, did okay against Cincy. Splits-wise, it could be him. We don't know. If it is him, I'm definitely looking at Senga as my only pitcher in this game, and then I would look at bats. So the bats that I would look at, really, with Trout being out, Ohtani being not 100%, he could hit a home run, it is true. I don't know. He is not 100%. Trout is out. You've got Drury you could look at. You got Moustakas you could look at. Moniak you could look at. Hunter Renfroe would be one. But if it is, in fact, Tyler Anderson, I love me some Lindor, Alvarez, Pete Alonso with a home run. I'm probably going to have Pete Alonso in a home run pick as well. That's probably it. I don't like a ton about this game outside of Senga, to be completely honest, and Pete Alonso for a home run against. If it is Anderson, it could not be Anderson. This is my whole basis on Alonso for a home run is if it's Tyler Anderson. Athletics at the White Sox, Zach Neal versus Dylan Cease. There was a ton of home runs in this A's game yesterday. I'm very pissed off that I did not have any of the home runs. I wanted to go Zach Geloff, and I did not. And, of course, he hit a home run. But then so did Tony Kemp. The hell. So, anyway, Zach Neal versus Dylan Cease. Let's take a look down here. Neal all the way down here. Is it going to be an opener? Okay, so he's listed as the starter, probably, but he hasn't gone more than 3.1 innings. So is he going to be the opener then? And then it's going to be... So it looks like he's going to be the opener. Then newly acquired Sean Newcomb, I guess, is going to come in. I probably wouldn't use him either. I'm definitely looking at the White Sox bats. Mikolas, yeah. But Dylan Cease, I really like Dylan Cease here against Oakland. Didn't have a good game at Colorado, but that's at Colorado. Had a couple of good games here. Splits-wise, the problem is when he gets the ball up in the air, or when he's trying to throw his knuckle curve and it hangs up there, people can hit home runs. I will have exposure to Cease. I do wish this was in Oakland a little bit more. He does come in with a 4.50 ERA, which is nuts after how dominant he was last year. Pitching at home, he is better at home. That is a plus. But let's look at the bats in this one. Zach Geloff has been on fire. I would look at him. Rooker had a home run yesterday. I would look at Seth Brown. Langoliers, I believe, had 2 home runs yesterday. I would look at him for sure. Those would probably be so Geloff, Rooker, Brown, and Langoliers if you're going with Oakland bats. If you're going against whoever they throw out there, I would look at Eloy, Andrew Vaughn, Luis Robert, Anderson, and I think Grandal, Andrews, and Benintendi are fantastic tournament options, not cash options, though. Then we move on to here. Rangers at the Twins. Dane Dunning versus Sonny Gray. Let's look at Dane Dunning. Where is he? Oh, he's further down. Slipping. Game log. We did use him against Milwaukee. Did not. He shit the bed for us. That's for sure. San Francisco, 33.6. He was okay there. Fantastic there, actually. Splits-wise, he hasn't faced Minnesota this year. He's pitching on the road, where he does have a slight better ERA. Tournament-wise, I'm okay with, but Minnesota can hit. And then Sonny Gray, on the other hand, coming in against Texas. We know Texas is a really good hitting team. If you want to go contrarian, I would go Sonny Gray. But Texas is a fantastic hitting team. In cash, I wouldn't trust him there. He's pitching at home, where he does have a slightly worse ERA, but barely. And he's averaging 18.1 fantasy points at home, which would pay off right at the two times his salary mark. If you don't want to go with either pitcher and you want to look at bats instead, we can look real quick at those. Maybe. Why did it go all the way to the bottom? Seager, obviously, he had a home run yesterday. Marcus Semien had one early. Adolis Garcia, I don't mind. Taveras had a home run yesterday. Nate Lowe did nothing for us. I would look at Nate Lowe. I would look at Jonah Heim. I would look at Semien as well. Maybe Jankowski for cheaper options. If you're not going with Dane Dunning, Joey Gallo is a tournament option. I would look at Max Kepler. I would look at Solano. Jeffers, I like Jeffers more against lefties. He did have a home run yesterday against a lefty. He's an option. Correa, I'm okay with. Royce Lewis, I believe, had a home run yesterday or the day before. I would look at him. I would look at Julian here. I would look at Polanco. I'm probably not taking either pitcher in this one. I'm looking at the stack. And if we look at... I want to see what the over-under on this game is right now. Now, obviously, it is 8 a.m. Depending on when you watch this video, the over-unders have probably changed, maybe. So let's just kind of see what they are now, and then we'll see, where is it? The Twins have an expected run total of 4.17, where are the Rangers at? Rangers have a 3.89. Why? It's that low against Sonny Gray? It's less than I expected. 8.5 over-under right now. Kind of watch this. This is a way to... It is 8.5 right now. If the line moves up, obviously, I would be taking the bats in this one. If it moves down, I would probably side on Sonny Gray over this. But I do like both offenses in this one. Padres at the Brewers, you got Yu Darvish versus Brandon Woodruff. Brandon Woodruff is the second highest priced pitcher on the slate, while Yu Darvish is down here at 8,500. Game logs, he's not done, not been dominant. He's been okay, but he hasn't been dominant. He hasn't gotten the 2 times salary since July 29th. So he's kind of come back down to earth a little bit. Splits-wise, he's faced Milwaukee once this year, 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 12 Ks in that game, 34.2. So he has, but Milwaukee's been on fire, and they're in first in their division, I believe, since then. But he's been in a good spot. 8,500, he is dropped down a little bit, or he's actually up since facing Arizona. Darvish, I don't mind. Woodruff here against San Diego, game logs. He's come back. He's had 3 starts since coming back from injury. 2 really good ones, and then not a good one at Texas, which that's not his fault. It's Texas in Texas. He's pitching at home where he does have a 1.74 ERA. Again, it's skewed because he's only made 5 total starts this year, and 2 of them are at home. Woodruff, I don't mind him, but San Diego, we know they can hit when they're on, and they've been heating up as well. So looking at San Diego bats here. Let's take a look real quick. Both San Diego and Milwaukee. If you're not using either pitcher, Juan Soto against Woodruff I'm okay with. Tatis I'm okay with. Trent Grisham, Machado I would look at. I would look at Cronenworth and Kim as well. Obviously, Christian Yelich has been on a resurgence bandwagon this year, which I'm all over. I would look at, if I'm using Brewers bats, I'm looking at Yelich. I'm looking at Wilson Contreras. I'm looking at Carlos Santana for tournaments. I would look at Willy Adames, who has, I think, 20-plus home runs again. Maybe Turing and Frelick for tournaments as well. So I don't mind either of these pitchers. And then if we look at this, Padres are expect 3.63, and then the Brewers are actually up here at 4.41. So Vegas is thinking that Yu Darvish gets hit hard, and the Brewers would be the stack to go. So if you want to go side on Vegas, I would go that way. If you want to side against Vegas, which that's your prerogative, I would look at the Padres bats. Then we got the Reds at the Diamondbacks. Hunter Green versus Brandon Pfaadt. In Arizona, Hunter Green let us down last time. I will not lie. We used him in our lineups. Did not help our case. Where is he? Am I missing him? Okay. Is he not listed? Oh, he's not listed. Oh, wait. Green will get an extra day of rest before his next start, which will come Saturday. So, is he not starting today? Or did they decide not to? Because that was 2 days ago. Yeah, okay. Well, he came off injury, did not have a good game against Toronto, gave up 8 earned runs in 3 innings, minus 9.1. I would avoid Hunter Green if he is pitching today. I can't confirm if he is pitching, though. So that is going to be hard to do, but they have him listed currently. So if he is, I would definitely side on Arizona bats. Brandon Pfaadt, looking at him, we see him at 5,600 game log. He had a really good game against San Diego at 6,000. And now he's going up against Cincy. He's faced him once this year. 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. All 3 of them were solo shot home runs. 16.5. So if he could get that, that's still good. He had 6 Ks in that one. But if you're not using either of these and you're looking at the bats in this game, let's take a look. I don't know if it's going to be Hunter Green. Unless something changed in the last 2 days. I guess. Noelvi Marte is a tournament option that I don't mind. Ellie De La Cruz I would look at for sure. I would look at McLean, Spencer Steer. Nick Senzel had a home run. Got called back up yesterday because Joey Votto went on the IL. Nick Senzel would be one that I'd look at. I'll just look at this list of names, and it's like, oh, these guys, never heard of their names before. And then on the flip side, if it is Hunter Green and he, not looking so good, Evan Longoria, I don't mind. Tommy Pham, I like more against lefties, but I don't mind him. Ketel Marte, I like. Moreno, I like. Corbin Carroll had a home run yesterday. I would take him. Gurriel Jr., I would take. Christian Walker let us down with a home run, but he almost had a home run. I would look at him. A cheap option is Buddy Kennedy. Jace Peterson came through yesterday. I would look at those bats there. So I don't know if it's going to be Hunter Green. If it is, then probably still not going with him. He didn't look too sharp his last start. But if you want to go on the narrative where, everyone's going to be off of him because of his last start, throw him in a tournament. He's an option, tournament option. I don't think Brandon Pfaadt is a cash or tournament option. I think I'm just avoiding him. Royals at the Mariners, Brady Singer versus Bryce Miller. Brady Singer here. Awful game against the Cubs, 3.2 innings, 6 runs, 4 of them earned. Good game against Seattle 2 starts ago. At home Splits-wise, that's the only time he's faced him. Now he's going against Seattle. They've been up and down, very Jekyll and Hyde this year. They've come along lately, but he has had success against them. 6,900, I'm okay with for tournaments, for sure. And then Bryce Miller, he's up here at 8,600 against Kansas City. Hasn't faced them this year. He's pitching at home, where he does have a better ERA. Bryce Miller at 8,600, I'm okay with. The problem is, two strikeouts in 2 games here. Did have a 10 strikeout game and then lower. So he's going to need to get strikeouts here, obviously. If we're not using pitching in this one and you want to look at the bats, MJ Melendez, Michael Garcia, Bobby Witt Jr. I would look at. Nelson Velasquez is a tournament option. Salvador Perez, Michael Massey, Freddie Furman. Those would be the bats that I'd use if I'm not going with Miller. If I'm not going with Singer, who just had a really good game against them, I'd go Julio, Teoscar Hernandez, Cal Raleigh, Suarez, Dylan Moore is what I'd look at. But I kind of like me some Brady Singer at his price. At his price down here at 6,900, and he just faced them. I know that was in Kansas City, which was a better pitcher's park. I'll take exposure to Singer. And then we've waited to the late night hammer here. We've got Spencer Strider, who is the picture of the video and the article for a reason. He is pitching in this. Do not be surprised if he has 13 plus strikeouts again. Do not be surprised. Spencer Strider here. Game logs, 38 fantasy points. Just faced this team at home. His last start went 7 innings with 10 Ks. Now he gets to face them in San Francisco. I'm all over him. I know he's expensive, but this is one I will pay up for. Will I get screwed over? There's a chance I get screwed over. Everything points to he's going to have a fantastic game, and then that is when they pull the rug out from under us and Vegas tells him to screw off and not get the start or not get the dub. But I like him here. On the road, he is better on the road, and this is a fantastic pitcher's park. As long as the weather holds up in this game, I absolutely love Spencer Strider, and it looks like it should be good. And then on the flip side, you got Logan Webb, who can strike out people. Splits-wise, he's faced Atlanta once this year, 6 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 10 point. What's his last start? 10.1. 9,400. He's only dropped down 92. I'm looking at an Atlanta stack here. I don't want anything to do. He is better at home, obviously, because it's pitching here. So in tournaments, I'm okay with. But in cash, I'm 100% on Spencer Strider. I'm off of Logan Webb, and I'm looking at the Atlanta bats here. All right, that is the breakdown of all of the pitchers and the bats on the slate. Now let's take a look at the top 10 or top 12 simulations that we've had through 2,000 simulations. So these are the bats that it likes so far. Again, it will change by the time lineups lock, so definitely remember that. We got Ronald Acuna number 1, Riley Green 2, Kyle Tucker 3, Adley Rutschman 4, Matt Vierling 5, and I didn't even look at these before I mentioned like Matt Vierling and Torkelson. Number 6 is Jordan. Number 7 is Torkelson. Number 8 is Dominic Smith. Number 9 is Cody Bellinger, 10 is Jose Ramirez, 11 is Chas McCormick, and 12 is Lane Thomas. So if you look at the top 12 bats, it likes only one Atlanta bat right now. So as of now, you could be looking at that as Logan Webb might have a good game. It's got 3 Detroit Tigers. It has 3 Houston Astros bats. It has 2 Washington bats, 1 Cleveland, and 1 Chicago Cub bat. And then if you look at the pitching, it's got Spencer Strider, number 1. I absolutely love him. Zach Eflin, number 2, which he probably does shove against the Yankees. 3 is Brandon Woodruff against San Diego. 4 is Garrett Cole, which I'm still iffy on Tampa Bay, but we'll see. Number 5 is Dylan Cease against Oakland. Number 6 is Bryce Miller against Kansas City. They do have 7 as Hunter Green, but we don't know if he's starting. Number 8 is Brandon Pfaadt versus Cincy, would be a tournament option for me. Dane Dunning against Minnesota, that is only a tournament option for me. Number 9 is Chris Bassett at home, which he is better at home. Number 10 is Cutter Crawford, and number 10 is Chris Bassett, 11 is Cutter Crawford, and 12 is Sonny Gray versus Texas. This one feels like everyone will be on Texas bats, and then Sonny Gray has a fantastic start. Something's up with this one. I'm very curious on what it'll like after 10,000 simulations. So that's what I've got, everybody. That is the breakdown. If you liked it, put a ring on it, as in liking it. Way to support the channel. Like the videos. Hit the ads. I know they're annoying, but they do help us out, and it's completely free just to click the ads. If you do have an ad blocker on and you want to help us out, that would help us out immensely. I put a lot of time and effort into this, and hopefully you guys see that and appreciate it. Whether or not you donate money, whether or not you send super chat, super thanks, which was awesome. We've received a few. That is awesome. Clicking on the ads is super free. Going to the website, Fantasy Team Advisors, is also free as well. So that's what I've got for this video. Again, I don't know if there'll be a video tomorrow. It will really depend on when the slate comes out for DraftKings. Hopefully I can get you one, but I can't promise anything. That's what I've got, guys. Good luck today. And as always, let's have a fantastic day, a fantastic weekend. And let's bring home some bacon. Peace.